Hello and welcome to this lesson on this lovely tune which is called Hylands House, and you've heard me mention the name Martyn White many times over the years on my Melodeon videos, and that's because he's the guy that lives just down the road from me, luckily, who's a brilliant Melodeon squeeze box fettler. You can mend and restore Melodians, accordions, concertinas, and he's also a really good player as well. He sometimes these days plays for my Morris side, which is Chelmsford Morris. He used to be the band leader for the side. He plays with other sides as well. Very well known, very well respected restorer and musician. What I didn't know about Martyn is that he writes tunes as well, and one of the tunes he's written is one that we use for a men's dance in Chelmsford Morris. Hylands House is actually a stately home just down the road in Chelmsford. This dance is for 6 men in 3 pairs, and that number 3 is quite key to this tune because it crops up quite a lot, as you'll see. I've been playing this tune a little while before I realised that Martyn had actually written it, and it really is a good tune. He's written 1 or 2 others that I might share with you, but we're going to have a lot of fun with this, so let's get started. Martyn and I were chatting the other day about the different ways you can interpret the music for this tune, and that's kind of the point of this sort of music. No one ever plays these tunes exactly the same themselves every time, and as others do. So, you know, it's open for interpretation. I based my version on our band leader's version, our current band leader, Celia, and she plays it really nicely, as you would imagine. The time signature is 6/8, which is compound duple time, which means 2 groups of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 1 and the 4 carry the main accents. So you get that kind of rumpty-tumpty sort of feel, which is used a lot in this kind of music, obviously. I'm just going to play the metronome on my iPhone here. Now you can hear it's 1, 2, 1, 2. So I've set it in 2s. So the bell is on the first beat. See? Ding, ding. And it's set to 87 beats per minute, which is andantino, which is sort of at a walking pace. And that way the bell rings on the beginnings of each group of 3. So if you think of 6/8, divide by 2, 3 and 3, it's the beginning of each 3, you get the bell there. If you set the metronome to 6, you can't get it fast enough, it sounds ridiculous. So that's a really good setting. So there's a bit of a tip there. If you want to set a metronome for 6/8, do it as a 2/4 and then just sort of slow it down. We're in the key of G major, so all the notes on the G row will have normal shaped heads and all the notes on the D row will have diamond shaped heads. You won't find that in other people's music unless they've copied me, but it's peculiar to my music and it kind of works, I think, pretty well. You can see at a glance which row you need to play your notes on. The order is written at the top of the first page. There is an intro which I didn't play because that's kind of when you dance out with this tune, so I've ignored that and I've just done the 1A, 3B 3 times, 2C, 3B as slow, so that the B crops up again but it's played as slows, and I'll talk about that when we get there. And then you end with the 1A again, and it's fairly long, as you've probably realised. You don't have to play all the repeats, but it's quite good practice to keep it nice and steady, see if you can get through the whole thing. So in the key of G major, all Fs are sharpened, and we start in what I call position home, pos H. And if you don't know what that means, for me it means if you've got a third button start instrument like I have here, the first finger goes on button 3, the second goes on button 4, third goes on button 5, and the fourth goes on button 6. So you've got that position there. The home position where the first finger is on the kind of home note, the G. Okay, so that's your first position. Now the first bar, that's the right hand of the first bar. Let's look at that in detail. So in that position, the little finger falls on the octave G, that one there, and then you play the D, which is the button above that, and the B, the button above that. Now it's quite a hard bit that we start with because it's not 3 quavers, but dotty quaver, semi-quaver, quaver. So that sounds like this. So if I was going to count that really slowly, I'd count 1, 2, 3. So the first note is longer, the second note is shorter. So instead of it being even like that, it's, see? Dwell on the first note longer and make the second note shorter, because in the second half of the bar, you've got this. You've got equal value quavers there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There it is, slowed right down. If you find that too hard, then obviously play it all as even quavers, but it does sound nice, doesn't it, with that kind of extra bouncy bit there right from the get-go. The bass line there, G bass, G chord, C bass, C chord, G bass, G chord on the push, C bass, C chord on the pull. So the G basses are at the bottom of the outside row. I use fingers 4 and 3 on those buttons. Some people use 3 and 2. In fact, I'll probably say most people do that, and some even use just 2 and 1 for all the basses. I wouldn't recommend that particularly. I do what I do because I think it's logical, but it's a bit hard work. But I've kind of got used to it over the years. So G bass, G chord on the push, C bass, C chord over here, same buttons but on the inside row on the pull. Remember, the capital letter is the bass note and the little letter is the chord. Now notice where those chords coincide with the right hand notes. It's on the first and third notes of each group of 3. So that gives you... Where you put your thumb is up to you. I mean, a lot of people play with their thumb on the side. I play with my thumb around the back most of the time, and so I can arch my fingers over the fingerboard there. And you can see push, pull, push, pull. The first three notes all on the push, and then it's pull, push, pull. Like that. And that's your first bar. Now, you could count it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but probably easier to go 1, 2. Like that. And that kind of ties in with my metronome setting, doesn't it?